What's up, everybody? Dark 1985. There's levels to this. I got a quick video for you guys. I want to talk to you about the differences between the screen of the Lenovo Legion Go and the Asus ROG Ally, which I have right here. And I'm going to show you guys the differences here in a second, okay? Now, the reason I want to concentrate on just talking about screen for this video is because when it comes to buying or purchasing one of these handheld PCs, they're all going to be able to play, for the most part, the exact same games. They're just going to be doing it a little bit differently with different features, and screen is one of the big differences between anything that you buy, from screen size to refresh rate to VR, non-VR, to OLED, no OLED, to HDR, no HDR. All that stuff matters, right? In making your purchasing decision. So I'm going to start with the Lenovo Legion Go because one of its main attractions, I would say, is the fact that it is a bigger screen, okay? And when you grab the Lenovo Legion Go, especially if you're coming from something like the Nintendo Switch OLED or coming from like the Asus ROG Ally, as soon as you hold this thing in your hand, you can tell that the screen feels massive. So even though it is a handheld, I can tell you that when you're playing on this, you don't feel constrained by the size of this screen. So that is a huge plus that goes to the Lenovo Legion Go. It is a 144 hertz screen, so that's good if you're playing a game that can push it. Okay, and it's also a 1440p screen, but I'm going to tell you something that I didn't see a lot of people talk about, and I'm also going to talk about it as well with the Asus ROG Ally. Now, I've had the Asus ROG Ally. Well, I pretty much have had both of these things since they came out for the most part, but I definitely want to talk to you guys about something. Let me go ahead and pick up the brightness all the way up, okay? Because I want you guys to be able to see this perfectly. Okay, so as you guys can see, the screen looks beautiful, right? Um, but I'm going to show you guys something because again, I don't see a lot of people talking about this, okay? 1440p screen with 144 hertz, right? Beautiful. The screen has no VRR, which to me is a huge detriment. I've seen a few people talk about it as if it's not a big deal. I promise you, in certain games, when you play these two systems side by side, you will be able to tell the difference, okay? Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you guys, okay? So I'm playing Atomic Heart right now, all right? And everything looks nice, right? Everything looks good. But this 1440p screen, if you're trying to get most out of this, you're not going to actually be playing at that 1600, at that 2560 by 1600. You're either going to be playing at that 1920 by 1200, which is nice, but if you really want to get the most out of this and use that 144 hertz, you're going to be playing at that 800p resolution. And a lot of people don't like to talk about that. And the reason you're going to be doing that is because a lot of these games have FSR, which automatically upscales the game and makes it look nice. Or you're going to have this Radiant super sampling. For me, I promise you, it is way worth it to play it with the Radiant super sampling on and have better frames than to play at that 1440p or whatever. I'm sorry, I'm holding it wrong. That's why I'm like going all over the place. And not be what's it called? And not be can I get out of here? I don't know how to get out of here. This is actually my son's gameplay, so I don't want to mess up where he's at. I think I'm supposed to talk to this guy, but I don't feel like talking to him right now. I don't want to mess up his game. But anyways, I prefer to have the better frames, right? The game running nice and smooth, especially on this thing that does not have VR, so you can feel it, than to have that actual to whatever that resolution was. What was it? The 1600p. Okay, so even though this has a higher pixel count screen, you're gonna be playing at a lower resolution anyways, and then you're gonna have the RSR sampling scale it up. Now it still looks beautiful, and a bigger screen still obviously looks bigger. There's nothing you can do about that. And the colors on this screen, I can say, to me, look better than the colors on the Asus ROG Ally. Okay. But once you're doing that super sampling all the way up again, so that you can get the best game performance, right? It it loses a little bit of its sharpness. It still looks good, but you're not getting, like I like to say, what you paid for with the screen for that 1440p. So that 1440p almost becomes, I don't want to call it a gimmick, but you're not really using it. Now, let's go ahead and go over to the Asus ROG Ally. Okay, I've had the Asus ROG Ally longer because obviously it's been out longer. Now this is a 1080p screen, but it's a smaller screen. Okay, this is I think this is 7 inches, and that one's 8 point something. But it's a smaller screen, it's a smaller device, and you could definitely feel it when you're holding it in your hand. This feels more like a proper handheld. This feels like a proper tablet that has controllers on it. So it's not good. It's not good or bad. It's whichever feel you want to go for. Go for more. To me, they're both comfortable, but they both definitely feel different. But when it comes to the screen, okay, this is 120 hertz, right? And this screen has VRR. That is a huge game changer because when you're playing a game like this and the screen is freaking choppy or the frame rates are jumping all over the place, and I don't have the frame rate monitor on right now, but the frame rates are all over the place. This thing feels smooth regardless. I promise you. The only difference between higher frames and lower frames on this is how much smoother it feels. But as far as choppiness, I don't experience choppiness on this device at all. On this device, I do experience some choppiness when I'm playing it, depending on what I'm playing. Because again, it doesn't have VRR. This device, no choppiness. But obviously, if you're looking at the bezels on this screen versus the bezels on this screen, right? This screen is way bigger. It might not translate right now, especially with the games that I'm playing. But I promise you, again, this is a beautiful screen, but the colors on this screen are just phenomenal. And sometimes it's a game that might not be doing it justice, especially this area of Atomic Heart. But it is what it is. Good game, by the way. You should play it. I enjoyed it. Okay, so smaller screen, VRR though, 120 hertz. The difference between 120 hertz and 144 hertz on these handheld devices doesn't matter because you're not going to be running most games, especially AAA games, that high of frames anyways. This is a Z1 Extreme GPU. Sometimes I feel like we ask way too much from these handheld devices. But now, just like the Legion Go, let me show you this, okay? Again, this is a 1080p screen, all right? I'm running these games again with AMD RSR, right? Radeon resolution, okay? And I'm dropping this all the way down to 700p. Now, some people will tell you to drop it to 900p, right? And then have the RSR on or whatever. I drop it all the way down to 700p, get the best performance possible, and the game still looks incredibly sharp, okay? So, between these two handheld, what screen is better? Well, it depends what you want. If you want the bigger screen and you don't want to feel like you're being deprived because you're playing on a handheld, this will have you will not miss out on a big screen playing with this. Because when you have this in your hand and you have this close to you, this size, it's almost I dare to say the perfect size. I think anything bigger might have been too big and anything smaller might have missed the mark. This is literally a nice big screen. Everything looks yes, everything is big and clear, right? And again, however, when you're looking at that 14, good night, but when you're looking at that 1600 or the 1440p display that they talk about, you can use it if you want, but you're gonna lose performance. Drop it to the 800, turn on a Radeon Super Sampling or FSR if the game has it, and walk away. You're gonna be fine. I promise you, you're gonna be good. Okay, the colors on this screen is better as well. So bigger screen, better colors. 144 doesn't matter. Resolution doesn't really matter either. And no VRR. That's a huge detriment. This one here, still beautiful looking colors and everything. I'm just telling you which one is better. So if you only picked one of these up, you wouldn't know that the other one is better. Okay. Again, the game itself might not do it justice as I'm looking at how beautiful Red Dead Redemption 2 looks right now on this. Okay. But VRR 120 hertz doesn't really matter because you're not going to be running that 1080p. Now here is a huge difference though. A lot of these games, the 1080p you will be able to use, because even though you're not going to be able to hit, full 60 on some of these games at 1080p, the VRR makes up for it if you're running the game at 45 frames. So if you want to actually use the resolutions panel, that's what I would do. I would not. We tried it. I'm telling you, we've tried it. We've had the Legion Go for a while now. I would not run any games at the highest resolution. We even downloaded Tunic, and it wasn't worth it to run it at that high resolution. So yeah, so I wouldn't do it. Okay. Oh, I thought my stuff froze. My bad. Yeah. The Lenovo Legion Go still needs a little bit more software updates, but that's not what this video is about. It's about the screen. Oh look, I took out a gun just so you guys can see it as well. But I don't think can I shoot here? I don't think I can shoot here. I don't think that's allowed. Nope, no. Okay. All right. So I'll leave that there. I'll leave that at that. The last thing that I'm going to talk about is I don't have a Steam Deck OLED. Okay. However, I do have a Nintendo Switch OLED, and Nintendo also has a really nice size screen. However, it still feels like a handheld. Okay. But this OLED screen on the Nintendo Switch looks and feels phenomenal. And this screen is a 720 screen. Okay. Because it's this little, the game still looks very sharp on this screen. Okay. The game still looks very sharp. So I can only imagine how good that OLED screen on the Steam Deck OLED looks. I wish I could pick one up. I would have to save up a little bit more money and have a really good excuse as to why I would pick up a third handheld, but I really don't have a need for it at all. But I don't know. Maybe Juju will get one for Christmas or something. I don't know. We'll see. That'll be my excuse. But I'm going to leave you guys there with that. All right. Again, this wasn't about the Nintendo Switch. This was really about these two screens right here between the Asus ROG Ally, and the Lenovo Legion Go. Both great screens. It just really depends on what you want. Do you want the bigger screen? Again, the resolution. I'm being honest with you. I'm your friend here. Resolution of the screens don't really matter. You're probably going to be down using some type of super sampling or whatever. But there it is. The size of the screen is bigger on this. Colors look slightly better on this, but no VRR, and that is huge. If I had to do it again, if I could have a perfect world, I would have VRR, right, on this screen, and yeah, it would blow it out the water. And the resolution of this, I'd probably just put 1080p. You don't need anything that much bigger. But I'm telling you right now, that VRR is a game changer, and anybody that tells you that it's not is flat out lying to you. Please let me know if you guys have any questions. I do see your questions in some of my other videos. It just takes me a little bit longer to answer them. I can't definitively tell you which one of these is best for you. This was just a video about the screen. All right. Doc Dog 1985. There's levels to this. We out. Peace.